But again, we know that protein it's needed. It's absolutely necessary for us to have a functioning body. How much of it is the question? How much do we need to eat? And that can be overstated as well sometimes, but by other people can be understated. I'll give you a very clear rubric on this. We want to look at 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of lean body mass. That's not the same as your current body weight. I just want to get that very clear. Your protein demands is not about how much you weigh, but how much lean body mass you hold. Let's say, for example, you don't sit as a man at 12 to 15 body fat percentage, and as a woman, you don't sit around the 20% mark. You'd want to figure out what your ideal body weight would be, and then calculate the calories you need. And thereby, you figure out how much protein you need as well. So let's say, as a man, you weigh 90 kg, and your ideal would be 80 kg. That's your healthy weight. You'd figure out, based on 80 kg, how many grams of protein I need at 1.2 grams. And that's about just nearly 100 grams of protein a day. And you could split that across 3 meals, right? So you want to evenly distribute that across the day. And when it comes to training, adjusting your macronutrients based on your day's training. So I'd say beyond training, but also your work schedule as well. Has anyone here had a heavy lunch and then felt extremely sleepy and tired after? Everyone can relate to that. Being in the office, you'll have meetings 1, 2 p.m. and you'll need your brain to function at 100%. When you have a heavy carb meal, and not to say demonizing carbs, that carbs are bad, but you have a heavy carb meal, your body's too busy digesting that, you start to have brain fog, and next thing you know, your body's in a bit of a state to fall asleep. Ideally, at those points, you craft your meals around your day. You want to go higher in protein, and probably less in carbs. Let's say you had training, if you want to go to gym straight up, get gym straight after your meal, ideally you would want to up the carbs a bit so you have some energy to burn during the training session. So I want to walk you through something that we did with one of our clients. As you can see here, this is a meal plan we created together. And bear in mind, this person was Indian descent, he was vegetarian. There's definitely some back and forth on what he could eat and what would be most appropriate for him. At the time, when we first met and I assessed him, he was only eating 30 grams of protein a day, which was severely under-eating. And that affected his body composition, affected his energy, and muscle loss as well. So things like having Greek yogurt in the morning. Greek yogurt is by far one of the best protein sources if you're vegetarian, but in general. It has about 10 grams of protein per 100 grams of Greek yogurt if it's 0%. Things like rolled oats, chia seeds, and blueberries. Chia seeds, really great for fiber. When you look at health, we're looking at gut health as well. So if you can see here, we've incorporated things to help facilitate that. Cinnamon, anti-inflammatory. So this is a very basic breakfast that takes less than 2 minutes to make. And that's something you can reliably have every day. Boiled eggs, they're basically a vitamin bomb. They have many minerals and vitamins in them. Things like choline, which is essential for brain health. For lunch, we had a bit of variety. Some days we had cottage cheese, some days we'd have paneer, some days we'd have tofu. It was a big mix of all of that. But the key here is you want to have a protein anchor. It could be chicken, it could be lamb, it could be fish, it could be tofu or paneer, right? These are all protein sources. If you can get around 20 to 30 grams of protein in that meal, you can start building the rest of the meal out of it. Then you can figure out how many carbs and fats you need. But the idea is you want to have a protein anchor. What would that look like in practice? And this is a little hack I give to people who don't want to spend time calculating. Obviously, if you want the optimal results, you would need to calculate for a bit. But it's called the plate rule. So you want to have a fistful of carbs on your plate. So that could be rice or potatoes. You want to have around a fistful or palmful of protein. And then the rest of the plate would be vegetables or salad, about half of it. And if you concoct your plates that way, I'll be very honest with you, it's actually helped some individuals help with rapid fat loss because they were eating in such a way that was completely opposite to that. Simple changes like that, if you're at the heavier end, can bring you way down in a matter of weeks. So that's something you can take away and be quite tangible. If you can see here, we've included things like kefir. Everyone's heard of kefir? So kefir is a yogurt drink. It's really good for gut health, improving microbiome. Having as much as protein is important. We want to have different elements of fiber and gut health. So introducing fiber and making sure it's a big part of your diet is also key to help digestion. And yeah, for this individual, he used to go to gym after work. So the carbs are pretty much placed towards the latter end of the day to support with fueling. But at the end, you can see that the protein he hit was around 130 grams, which is obviously on the higher end because his goal was for body recomposition, which was to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. But it's more than 100 grams more than he was eating before. So there's your answer.
Does it matter how it's been cooked? Like take paneer or tofu,
Yeah.
for an example. You fry it.
Yeah.
So is that bad as opposed to?
I want to stay away from saying bad or good when it comes to anything, but it's not ideal. So when you fry something, yeah, you know what you're doing. You're frying in oil. Oil is, even a tablespoon of oil is 100 calories. So you can imagine like a bowl of fruit, a big bowl of fruit could be 100 calories. That 1 tablespoon of oil is 100 calories. And by frying it, you also, the nutrition aspect's kind of gone. By frying your vegetables, frying your paneer, baking them, cooking them, but also using a bit less oil can work. That's what we did with the person we worked with. He used a teaspoon of oil in making his food. And another thing I'd say that would really support your journey is sharing it with your partner, your spouse. They're also inclined on your journey too, and you end up cooking together, and then you're following the same goals. So his wife, funnily enough, was like, who is this Harsha guy who's making you eat protein all the time? It's like, fine. And they end up going shopping together and buying the kind of foods they needed to support their health and body composition. And it changed their eating habits over time. And bear in mind, these guys were big foodies. At first, there's a lot of resistance to the meal plan, but then after incorporating different varieties and explaining how you can eat pretty much what you want, but having these metrics and in place of having enough protein and limiting your fat a bit, you can create really inventive meals that also satisfy the taste buds.